Strings in text. While you have been writing strings, you still don't know what they do. In this exercise, we create a bunch of variables with complex strings so you can see what they are for. First, an explanation of strings. A string is usually a bit of text you want to display to someone or export out of the program you are writing. Python knows you want something to be a string when you put either double quotes or single quotes around the text. You saw this many times when you use print. When you put the text you want to go inside the string in double quotes or single quotes after the print to print the string. Then string can contain any number of variables that are in a Python script. Remember that variables is any line of code where you set a name equal a string can contain any number of variables that are in the Python script. Okay, in the code for this exercise, types of people equals creates a variable named types of people and set its equal to 10. You can put that in any string with types of people. You also see that I have to use special type of string called format string. String to format, it's called a string and looks like this. Python also Python also has another kind of formatting using the dot format syntax, which you see on line 17. Dot format, hilarious. Okay. You see me use that sometimes when I want to apply a format to an already created string, such as in a loop. Hilarious, it's hilarious. Uh, we'll cover more that later. Format syntax. We will now type in a whole bunch of string variables and format and print them. We will also practice using short abbreviated variable names. Programmers love saving time at your expense by using annoyingly short and cryptic variable names. So let's get started. Let's get you started reading and writing them earlier. String, strings, suppose variables. Write string and variables. Okay, strings and text. String, text. Okay. So we are going to write types of people. Types of people equals 10. When x equals f, there are types of people using that format string. There are types of types of people. Then we have binary equals binary, do not equals don't. Do not equals don't. Y equals have those who don't know binary and those who know binary and those who don't. Those know binary, those who Then we go print x and y, print x, print y, then print I set set x, print I also set hilarious equals false, false. With joke underscore evaluation. Isn't the joke funny? Joke evaluation. That joke funny. Isn't that joke so funny? So funny. Print joke evaluation dot format hilarious. Uh, joke evaluation hilarious. This is the left side of the this is the left side of string with the right side. This is the left side of a string with right side. Right. Okay. String text a string valid expression. Is this a string? No, it is not a string. False. Alright. So what should you see? Study this. Go through this program and write a comment about each line explaining it. Okay, we can put values of a variable within a string using the within a string. We can make a space for a variable within a normal string while leaving space space for a variable string plus use format variable to put the value of the variable within the string later. Okay. Concatenate strings together to make the operator. Are you sure there are only four places? How do you know? Find all the places where a string is put inside a string. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The string 1, 2, 3, 4. Are you sure there are only four places? There are four places. How do you know? Maybe I like mine. Nope, there are only four places. The string is here, the string is here. These strings are put in here. Okay. Explain why adding two strings makes a string longer. Break it. You're now at a point where you can try to break your code and see what happens. Think of this as a game to devise the most clever way to break the code. You can also find the simplest way to break it. Once you break the code, you then need to fix it. If you have a friend, then two of you can try to break each other's code and fix it. Give a friend exercise point so they can break something. Then you can try to find the error and fix it, like I did. Put a string when it should be a normal string. Have fun with this, and then remember if you try this code once, you can do it again. If you can take your damage too far, you can always type it in again for extra. Okay, common student questions. Why do you put single quotes around some strings and not others? Mostly because it is a style, but I'll use a single quote inside a string that is double quotes. Section 15. Yeah. 6. 15. Okay. If you thought the joke was funny, could you write true? Yes, we'll learn more about Boolean and access mix. More printing. Now we're going to do a bunch of exercises where you just type in code and make it run. I won't be explaining this exercise because it is more the same. The purpose is to build up your chops. See you in a few next exercises and do not skip, do not waste. Okay, cheeseburger. And separate it. Watch and try removing it and see what happens. Then it will print on a new line. So you should make it. Exercise 7, no printing. Same. So we must print Mary had a little lamb. It's fleece. Those white ants. Little lamb. Print. Yeah. Okay. So it's fleece, but that's white ants. Fleece. The leave of space. Format it with snow. Snow. Yep. And everywhere that Mary went. Let's print 10 times.
Mousy.
It will print 10 times. It will print 10 characters. Right? And 1 and 2 to end 12. She forgot. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 11, 12. 6, cheese, then we're two, 3 plus 5 plus 6, comma, and 12. Triple space, 7 plus 8 plus 10 plus 11. And then when you went, cheeseburger. Okay. The and argument decides what uh, happens after the printing of the printing of data in the print function. By default, it is a new line. That that's why there is a new line after every print statement. However, you can overwrite the value of and give it any other value. Okay. So for these next few exercises, you will have the exact same study job. Go back through and write a comment on what each line does. Read. Okay. From now on, when you make mistakes, write down on a piece of paper and what kind of mistake you made. When you go to the next exercise, look at the mistakes you have made. You have to remember that everyone is like magicians who fool everyone into thinking they are perfect and never wrong. But it's all an act to make mistakes, although time to break it. You really have fun breaking the code in exercise 6. From now on, you're going to break all the codes you write on a friend's code. I won't have a break it section explicitly in every exercise, but I will do this in almost every video. The goal is to find as many different ways to break a code until you get tired of exhaust of all possibilities. In some exercises, I might point out a specific common way people break that exercise's code, but otherwise consider this a standing order to always break it. Why are you using variable name snow? That's actually not a variable, it's just a string uh, with the word snow in it. A variable wouldn't have the single quotes around it. Is it normal to write an English comment for every line of code like you say to do in study drill 1? No, you write comments only to explain difficult to understand code or why you did something, which is why much more important than which is usually much more important. And then you try to write the code so that it explains how something is being done on its own. However, sometimes you have to write such nasty code to solve a problem that it does need a comment on every line. Okay. In this case, it's strictly for your practicing translating code to English. Can I use single quotes or double quotes to make strings, or do they do different things? In Python, either way, to make a string is acceptable. Although typically you'll use single quotes for any short string like or printing. This is for matter, right? Format 123, two box two, and then formatted or printing to printing. The printing print feed rate, and I want to save it dot py. Yes. Okay, so I have. We will now see how to do a more complicated formatting of a string. This code looks simple, but if you do your comments above each line and break each thing down to its parts, you will understand it. Formatter matter was we have print formatter dot format 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we print formatter dot format 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Print formatter dot format. True for true. True for true. Print formatter dot format. Put formatter. And finally, try your text, maybe a point or a song about fear. Print formatter That try text here may be phone or a song about it. Okay, that 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. So the empty represents spaces where you can you can put any value. Wait, let me see. If I don't include the phone, what happens? Yeah, it has to. So must that you provide the exact number of exact number of data as there are the as there are. You can also separate the arguments on different lines given they are within parentheses. Take a format string defined, call its format function, which is similar to the name command. Pass. Again, this one I'm using something called a function to turn the formatter variable into other strings. When you see me write formatter.format, I'm telling Python to take the format string, call it format function, which is similar to telling it to a command line, to do a command line command named format. Pass to format four arguments, which match up to the fours in the formatter variable. This is like passing arguments to the command line command format. The result of calling format on formatter is a new string that has replaced with four variables. This is what print is now printing out. Let's load for the eighth exercise. So time time eight exercise. So what I want you to do is consider this a brain teaser. It's alright if you don't really understand what's going on because the rest of the book will slowly make this clear. At this point, try to study this and see what's going on, then move on to the next exercise. Study just do your checks, write down your mistakes, and try not to make the same mistake on the next exercise. Okay, why do I have to put quotes around 1, 2, but not around 2, true, false? Python recognizes true and false as keywords, representing the concept of true and false. If you put quotes around them, then they are turned into strings and won't work. I think that will work. What if not? Yep, it will work, but not as a boolean value, but as a string. Can I use idle to run this? No, you shouldn't learn to use command. No, you should learn to use the command line. It is essential to learning programming and is a good place to start if you want to learn about programming. Idle will fail for you when you get further. Printing, printing, printing. Okay. By now you should realize the pattern for this book is to use more than one exercise to teach you something new. Right. I start with code that you might not understand. Then more exercises explain the concept. If you don't understand something now, you will later as you complete more exercises. Write down what you don't understand and keep going. Here's some new strange stuff. Remember, type it exactly. Okay. D, none, printing, right. Here's some new strange stuff. Remember, type it exactly. Strange. Remember, type it exactly. Days all equals Monday, Tuesday. Yeah. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Months till August, Jan, Feb, January, April, June, July, August. Here are the days. Here are the days. 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 And here are the months. Print. There's something going on here with the three double quotes. We'll be able to type as much we'll be able to, as much as we like, or even 4 lines if we want, or 5 or 6. Okay. There's something going here with three double quotes. Three double quotes. We'll be able to type able to type as much as we like, even 4 lines if we want, or 5 or 6. 4 lines long, 5 or 6. So, okay, printing syntax warning, invalid escape sequence J. So, so, so insert escape character strings. We can also embed variables to the string when printing using comma. By providing a variable as the next argument after the string. Okay. So it was check your work, write down the mistakes. Why do I get an error when I put spaces between the three double quotes? You have to type them like this. No space. What if I wanted to start the month on a new line? Simply put. Is it bad that my errors are always spelling mistakes? Most programming errors in the beginning and even later are simple spelling mistakes, typos, or getting simple things out of order. So, 20. But we have let's multi-line string. So the multi-line string that can span multiple lines and uh, is printed as is with the line returns is including the line returns. Simple. In exercise 9, I threw you some new stuff just to keep you on your toes. I showed you I showed you two ways to make a string that goes across multiple lines. First way, I put the characters backslash n between the names and the months. These two characters put a new line character into string at that point. This backslash n character encodes difficult to type characters into a string. There are various escape sequences available for different characters you might want to use. An important escape an important escape sequence is to put a single quote or double quote. Imagine you have a string. Imagine you have a string that uses double quotes and you don't want to put a double quotes inside the string. If you write, then Python will be confused because it will think that the double quotes around the understand actually ends the string. Okay, you need a way to tell Python that the double quotes inside the string isn't a real double quote. To solve this problem, you escape double quotes and single quotes, so Python knows to include them in the string. Here's an example. The second way is by using triple quotes, which is just and works like a string, but you can also put as many lines of text as you want until you get again. We'll also play with these. Okay, tabby cat, Persian cat, and backslash cat. Uh, backslash a cat. Tap that. Okay, so this is what was that. So what was that? Can I put question? I don't think. No. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Then that's what was that? Put a question mark. Yeah, illegal character. Question. Okay, so study cat. Tapped in. Yeah, Persian cat. And split on a line. Split on a line. Backslash cat. This. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, backslash cat. Then yes, I am cat. And cat. Fat cat. I'll do a list. Cat food, fishies, cat nip, and grass. So fat cat. Do a list. Cat food, fishes, cat nip. We start a new tab. This is grass. And we end. Right. I can print tabby cat. Print all these. Print tabby cat. Persian cat. Print backslash cat. Print fat cat. Captain and Split, Cat and Nest, escape sequences. You should see this is all of escape sequences Python supports. You may not use many of these, but memorize their format and what they do anyway. Try them out in some strings to see if you can make them work. Form feed, backspace, SQL. Oh yeah, vertical tab, character, 16-bit hex value, character with octal values, character with hex values, carriage return, line feed, form feed. Memorize all escape sequences by putting them on the flashcards. Instead, can you see why you might use Can you see why okay, use triple single quotes instead? Can you see why you might use instead of combined combine escape sequences and format strings to create a more complex performance related questions. I still haven't completely figured out the last exercise. Should I continue? Yes, keep going. Instead of stopping, take notes, listing things you don't understand for each exercise. Periodically go through your notes and see if you can figure out these things after you've completed more exercises. Sometimes we may need to go back a few exercise and do them again. That's good. But compared to other ones, it's simply the way you would write out one backslash character. Think about why you would need this. When I write a instead or it doesn't work. That's because you're using forward slash, not a backslash. The different characters. I don't get studies well. What do you mean by combine escape sequences formats? One concept I need to understand is that each of these exercises can be combined to solve problems. Take what you know about format strings and write some new code that uses format strings and the escape sequences from this exercise. Okay. What's better? It's entirely based on style. Go with style for now, but be ready to use either depending on what feels best for everyone else, what everyone else is doing. So it's time for another. Yeah, asking questions. Now it's time to pick up the pace. You're doing a lot of printing to get you familiar. You are doing a lot of printing to get you familiar with typing simple things. But those simple things are fairly boring. What we want to do now is to get data into programs. This is a little tricky because you have to learn to do two things that may not make sense right away, but trust me to do it anyway. It will make a sense in few exercises. Most of what software does is the following. Take some kind of input from a person, changes it, prints out something to show how it changed. So far, so far, you have been printing strings, but you haven't been able to get any input from a person. You may not even know what input means, but type the code in anyway and make it exactly the same. In the next exercise, we'll do more explainable. And we put in at the end of each line. This tells print to not end line, the new line, go to the next line. So you're old, tall, and simple. How old are you? This is asking questions. Question. So first thing is print how age equals input. Friends, wait, how tall are you? How tall are you? Height, height equals and finding how much you weigh. Much do you do you weigh? Weight equals we start a format string with so you are old and that tall and healthy. Old are you? Two. How tall are you? Say 5 foot 8 inches. And then how much do you weigh? How much do I weigh? I weigh 70. So you're this old, 70 kg. Go online and find out what input does. Can you find other ways to use it? Try some of the samples you find. Write another form like this to ask some questions. Student question is how do I get a number from someone so that I can do math? That's a little advanced. But try x equals int input, which gets a number as a string from input and then converts it into an integer using int. I put my height to raw input, but it doesn't work. Don't put your height in there. Type it directly into your terminal. First go back and make the code exactly like mine. Next run the script and then it pauses, type your height, prompting people. Okay, I can prompt like that. So what does input do? I think okay, Python the input function enables you to accept data from the user. The function is designed so that the input provided by the user is converted into a string. In this brief guide, you'll learn how to use input function. The input function is quite straightforward to use with this syntax. If you use the optional parameter, the function can accept a string written without a new line character in this standard output. It returns a string object. That's it. Accepting an input, converting to a number, accepting a float, accepting a list of inputs. Oh, then accepting an input and converting it to a tuple, to a dictionary. Jump to oh, length of word, right? Word and word for word. Okay, so that's it. Until next time.